It may look busy, there may be plenty of customers, deals being done. But these are difficult days for the traders at Chisinau's central market.
It's getting worse and worse every day. Everything is getting more expensive. I had clients who bought 5 kilos of carrots. Now they buy just half a kilo. They are all saving money for bills.
Firewood has never been so expensive. We are already stocking up for the winter. What else can we do? We have heating, but we are not using it anymore.
Why am I charging more? Because energy prices have increased. We're using bulbs in our coupes. We're receiving enormous bills. It's obvious that we've had to increase our prices too. Inflation here is higher than in Ukraine.
Now, if you want to see inflation in action, just look at Angela's eggs. Last year, they were 20 lei for a dozen. Now they're 30. That's 50% inflation. And you can see it right across this market. In Moldova, inflation is more than 30% this year. Like the rest of Europe, energy is at the root of all of it. But here, the reasons are even more complicated. That's because during Soviet times, energy infrastructure was made deliberately complicated to bind the Union together. For example, all power lines into Chisinau come via Romania, Ukraine, and the breakaway region of Transnistria. This makes Moldova vulnerable to any attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. It also means that the country could be plunged into darkness by a flick of a switch in Transnistria, a region essentially controlled by Russia. At the Central Ministry, they've taken to switching off as much lighting as they can, over fears Russian energy giant Gazprom will cut supplies further.
But this is not a very commercial relationship. We see behind some maybe political decision just to reduce the gas volumes for our country.
And what is the political reasoning? What is it you think they're trying to achieve by doing what they're doing?
It's simple. I think they want Moldova to not follow the European path.
But it's not just in energy that Russia has had a grip on Moldova. Wine is hugely important in this country, both culturally and economically. Here at the Bukhari vineyard, right on the border with Ukraine, they've suffered 2 Russian wine embargoes.
Russia always found ways to use economic levers, to get their geopolitical goals. It was very painful. In 2013, when the second Russian embargo took place, we couldn't pay salaries, we couldn't pay our suppliers, we lost our biggest market overnight. And I think it was a realization that it's a market it's very difficult to build a sustainable business in. And I'm very fortunate that at this moment, we sell zero to Russia and we're selling to markets which are much safer.
Now Bukhari is Moldova's biggest exporter of wine, expanding year on year and shipping millions of bottles around the world. But the more wine you make, the more power you need. Now, as you can probably tell, making wine is a pretty energy-intensive procedure, and historically all of these machines have been powered by gas from Russia. But over the last year, they've decided that that probably is not a sustainable way of doing business, and so have tried to move to alternative sources of energy.
At the moment, 15% of our energy needs are covered by solar. Our plan is that within 5 years we want to become entirely energy independent, because we don't want to be dependent on a very unpredictable and fussy neighbor. With the prices of energy going up, the payback on such investments is as short as 3 years. So we believe it makes, I think, good, security sense, but it also has a lot of economic sense.
What they are doing here in Bukhari is maybe a microcosm for the wider government strategy, the pivot towards energy independence and away from Russia. But, as we saw on the streets of the capital, not everyone is in favour of that direction.
Why are they cutting ties with Russia? We won't make it without Russia.
Ukrainians took our jobs. We are sat at home, unemployed and penniless, and we don't know what to do with our lives.
When we were friends with Russia, we lived well. We had everything. Now they're saying that everything is Russia's fault.
The protesters here say they have legitimate concerns about the way this country is being run. Their opponents say that many of them are being paid by a pro-Kremlin oligarch. Moldova is a country torn east and west. The ruling party wants to see a closer relationship and a future within the European Union. But there are powerful forces keen to stop that happening.